session for one of my patrons. So I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in checking out my Patreon community, you can do so at patreon.com/Abbey Normal's Wisdom Quest. All right, so mini session, there aren't any specific goals. I'm just going to be going as guided by spirit, so we will just see what comes up. And I want to tell you personally, thank you so very much. Thank you for being a part of Patreon with me. Thank you for the opportunity to connect with you today. And thank you also for your open-mindedness to share with those on my YouTube channel. So, all right, here we go. Let's see what comes up. Okay. It's easier for me to sit here composed and not say anything while I try to describe what is indescribable. And if you could imagine, let's see a person made out of wax, and the wax is melted all around, so their body is more like wax that is kind of has grooves in all around it. It's sort of like maybe a Scooby-Doo monster. But it tries to be a human being. It's trying to be a person. And it emanates kind of like an off-white color. There's also this dark energy that is silhouetting. I mean, I can see it because of the black that is behind it and around it helps to outline its form for me. And it's undecided. It also wants to shift and look kind of like a yeti, like a white, hairy monster of the north that lives in very cold tundra and mountainous caves or something. So it kind of emanates being a oversized white hairy beast, okay? It's kind of undecided of what it is or its identity. And it doesn't know how to ask me for an interpretation. Because in a way, it kind of makes it uncomfortable that it doesn't know how to define itself. So, and this emanation of you, it shows me a black sphere that's levitating, and you sort of this yeti emanation here, and then I'm standing in front, and then we're looking at this levitating black sphere. And you say the answer is in here. And break off this crusted shell, and I see there's a rainbow essence on the inside. And it is denser, it's thicker. Material is a liquidy like material. And I can see through it, but I see this rainbow iridescence in this clearer, thicker, liquidy material. Now this is the sphere that's levitating. I feel an odd sense of resistance in taking this and then placing it in my heart for some reason. So I'm just going to continue to look at it. Instead of placing it in my heart, I just touch it with my finger. Because I feel like there's something out of balance about its energy. There's a ripple in it that is an unpleasant ripple. And it doesn't really want to acknowledge it, although it can. When I touch the ripple, I literally think of wood and then a hacksaw that's slowly cutting through, and I can hear this hacksaw going back and forth as it's slowly cutting through this wood. And I feel like my finger is also being slowly cut off at the same time. And it's not necessarily torturous, believe it or not. It's kind of, life is just like this anyway. So you just have to live with the way life is. even if it hurts, and life hurts. So it is the way life is. But there's no avoidance. Like, we have the power to move our finger away. We have the power to stop the hacksaw here. We have the power to move the board. We have the power to change things. So you can, I don't know why the word avoidance keeps coming up, but avoidance in actually a positive way. But you can avoid these pains. Like, you can avoid it. I mean, you can stand in the railroad track and wait for the train to hit you, or you can avoid that incident by not standing on the railroad track. So avoidance as a positive thing is sort of like, if you don't want to get hurt, there are things that you can do to avoid that from happening. You say, nah, no, not really. Okay. Why do you say that? You say something like, well, I just take the good with the bad. There's a concept about the candle is perfect, and then you put the flame upon it. Now the candle is still perfect. Now the flame melts the wax, and the wax is now coming down the sides. The candle is still perfect. Even in its transformation, the candle is still perfect. Even if it is seems to be imperfect, in its own transformation, it is perfect. And the candle will one day be burnt out. And I just take the good with the bad. So what about the train, though? And the railroad track? Like, how do we explore the good and the bad with this concept? I just want to go walk into a scene, you and me, and I just want to get more feedback on this. How does this parallel with the candle conversation? You say, because I want to believe I'm always in the right place at the right time. So your interpretation is you're not standing there waiting for the train to hit you. You just happen to stumble upon the railroad track at the time when the train hits you. So that's more so how you're perceiving your life, or reality is more like, oh crap, I'm on the train track. Oh crap, I just got hit by a train. I didn't mean to. It just happened that way, divinely. And that is just the perfect candle, always in its own state of perfection. And I just take the good with the bad. But I feel like there is something missing here. And I do want to go back to that interesting orb. I was kind of touching that vulnerability in there to try to understand it, and I'm showing the hacksaw and the wood and then the finger in this whole conversation. So I feel like there's something missing in the viewpoint. Almost like I'm supposed to tell you you have more control over your life than it being kind of like always destiny. It is always destiny, but it sounds to me like I'm supposed to tell you that you can have more control over the events of your life. I don't like the word control because when we want to have control, I don't know how to explain it other than the word control is actually kind of a manipulation of the mind, because we want to have control. That means that we have stability, that we have a grounded sensation, but who doesn't want that, and why can't we have that? Because we can have that. So do we call it control or do we call it stability? And can we have stability? And how do we access it? So it just seems like there's all these open boxes of possibilities, but where's the stability? Let me go back to the Yeti and the candle wax man. You don't want to be like everybody else. In a way, you would prefer. It's not about avoidance of the train. So if you get hit by a train, it makes for a more interesting story. So you wouldn't be per se let down by that. But again, I feel that that's not necessarily true. So the question is, what do you want to get out of this life? Because you can dance forever until the day comes when you stop dancing and say, what am I doing? Basically. This is meant to be deep and serious. This is meant to be complex, philosophical thinking, perspective on life. It's meant to be like this. It does have a more of a undertones of sadness, undertones of a disappointment in the practicalities of this human world, undertones of I want to be free, but there's a conflict in the human reality for your soul. But you also delight in the complexity itself. I will say it's very hard to define how. I want to define it as there's energy movement in your heart, but it's more so outside the heart and circulating around the heart area. And it also has to do with solar plexus. It also has to do with the throat. I mean, it also has to do with self-reflection. It has to do with reflection on life. So third eye involvement here. I mean, there's identity question marks going on here as well. What if you want to be free, to be delighted and happy, and it's conflicting when you can't just be that way? Is that another possible avenue going on here? Because it's almost like knowing it's okay to go into the heavier conversation, but why does, I take the good and the bad. What it can be heavy, but it's almost like it. Again, there's another complexity here with your relationship with this. Is it about the words I'm speaking, or is it about the way they make you feel? These concepts make you feel in a deeper way, and how it molds and shapes who you are. All right. That is really interesting. I would love to spend more time in here and looking at everything and to really interpret it more from more angles, but this is what I can share for now. So thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and I'm giving you a really big hug, because that was actually felt hard. It felt like there's kind of like it's sad inside, maybe is not wanting to be sad inside, but it is sad inside, it kind of feels like that. Anyway, thank you again. And thank you so much for sharing with others, and everybody watching. Thank you very much for watching and for your love and support here for my clients and for my YouTube channel. I hope you all have a very wonderful rest of your day.